For decades, the rules of the global economy were written in a handful of boardrooms in Washington, New York, and Western Europe. If you wanted a development loan, you went to the IMF. If you wanted to trade, you used the US dollar. But those established channels are jamming up. Deadlocks at the UN Security Council and stalled reforms at the World Trade Organization have left developing nations looking at a system that demands their compliance without offering them a proportional seat at the table. While global attention has been locked on military conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, a coalition of 5 developing nations has been quietly organizing a parallel system in the background. They aren't overthrowing the old order with military force. Instead, they are pulling the world's economic gravity steadily eastward, one trade agreement at a time. When the acronym BRIC was first coined in 2001, it didn't even refer to a real organization. It was a shorthand term created by an economist to describe the growth potential of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Today, that theoretical grouping has transformed into a formal, expanded intergovernmental coalition. With the recent additions of countries like Egypt, Iran, the UAE, and Ethiopia, the bloc now contains nearly half the human beings on Earth. This chart compares the total economic mass of the traditional Western powers against this new coalition. By purchasing power parity, BRICS nations now generate over 35% of global GDP, officially surpassing the G7's 29% share. This scale creates what economists call multipolarity, a global system divided among multiple centers of influence, where no single superpower has the absolute authority to write the rules for everyone else. Today, this group holds the demographic dominance and global production volume needed to challenge established international rules. They possess the economic mass required to actively rewrite global governance. Real influence in that system requires a foundation of physical resource power. Over the last few years, the alliance has pivoted aggressively toward the vast refineries and pipelines of the Middle East. During their major 2024 expansion, the bloc integrated the United Arab Emirates, Iran, and Egypt, bringing some of the most critical energy exporters directly into the fold. Looking at this visual breakdown of global resources, you can see the immediate impact of that expansion. This single 10-nation bloc now controls upwards of 40% of all crude oil and natural gas production on the planet. It creates an incredibly efficient loop. You have the world's top energy producers, like the Gulf states and Russia, sitting at the exact same negotiating table as the world's largest energy consumers, like China and India. Controlling the flow and pricing of that much energy gives them the raw leverage required to do something that was nearly impossible 20 years ago: challenge the dominance of the US dollar. That challenge is called de-dollarization. It is the tactical process of executing international trade without relying on American currency or Western financial networks. To do this, they are building their own physical infrastructure. Operating out of Shanghai, the new development bank was established to act as a direct alternative to the IMF and the World Bank. The pitch to developing nations is highly practical. The bank distributes massive loans for bridges, power grids, and ports, but it skips the strict political conditions and domestic policy requirements that Western lenders typically demand. They are applying this same logic to global food supplies. Through the BRICS Green Exchange, the bloc is building a digital marketplace that allows producers and importers to trade wheat and other crops without touching US-denominated commodity pricing. This diagram illustrates how it works in practice. When executing bilateral oil trade between 2 BRICS nations, instead of routing the payment through the central SWIFT system in dollars, the transaction clears directly in their local currencies, fully insulating both countries from Western sanctions. They are no longer voicing frustration with the rules of global trade. They are actively constructing the parallel financial plumbing needed to survive completely outside of it. Look closely at this lineup of leaders in Brazil. This is not a cohesive, ideologically aligned monolith. It is a highly diverse group with deeply conflicting political systems. There are severe fractures right beneath the surface. New members Egypt and Ethiopia, for instance, are locked in intense diplomatic rifts over the use of the Nile's water and regional positioning in the Middle East. Even the founding giants are at odds. Persistent border disputes and a fierce historical rivalry between India and China constantly threaten to stall the entire organization's momentum. This friction is the defining feature of a multiplex world, a highly competitive global landscape where middle powers refuse to pick rigid sides, choosing instead to hedge their strategic bets and maintain relationships across rival blocs. Yet, despite these intense divisions, the alliance holds together. Their shared, pragmatic need for a non-Western economic lifeboat consistently outweighs the bilateral disputes they have with one another. We are already seeing the immediate consequences of this cohesion. Because these nations can trade, lend, and borrow among themselves, traditional Western economic sanctions are rapidly losing their coercive power. With financial sovereignty secured, BRICS nations are moving to lock down the physical trade corridors. By controlling critical choke points and securing independent supply chains, they ensure goods keep flowing regardless of Western policy decisions. And that level of independence is magnetic. Dozens of new partner countries, like Vietnam, Thailand, and Nigeria, are now being pulled into this expanding geopolitical gravity. The decades of unquestioned unipolar Western control have definitively ended. The blueprint for a decentralized, multipolar world is already built, and it is fully operational today.